tonight with a special guest. It's basically related to, our motorsports industry. We have Mr. Ed Eskandarian.
First.
Yeah, well, it sounds like to me you were in the bottom line, basically, or the home base here at the developing of engines at this point in time. How did that program go with Mickey Thompson and Fritz Boyd? Did you get anything out of that for your involvement?
Well, the first thing I was excited about the deal pretty much. I thought he could do it. And so I'll go to talk to Vic Edelbrecht, my friend. He's always wonderful. He's a good businessman and good to talk to, and knows his stuff about speed equipment. And I'll see what he thinks of the deal. And so I explained it to him, and he says, "Tell me something. Has the man ever bought anything from you before?" And I thought, oh, I see what you mean. Oh, my goodness. I see what you mean. Yeah, I would show a little, what would be, respect or what? And so,
well, he was willing to ask the question, so I guess that...
So I realized I should have been a little more careful. But later on, I exploited him. I played him up big, and since... Cobb held that record. An Englishman named Cobb, what was that first name? I forget, but he held the records over 400 miles an hour.
Wasn't that Malcolm Cobb?
Yeah, and so we started calling Mickey in our ads. We'd call him Sir Mickey Thompson, and we always thought maybe we'll hear from Britain that we are not allowed to knight anybody here in the United States. That was after Mickey went 400 or a little over 400 miles an hour.
Well, he had quite an involvement with the Pontiac company then. I understood in part of that program that he had with the Pontiac division, he hired Don Garlitz for a while, I think, to help him with those motors. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't know about Don being involved
I think Don came and worked a few months for him, trying to improve in the drag racing field with that type of a deal.
Yeah, because later Knudsen wanted the Pontiac to be the drag racing engine.
Yeah, and I recall that. I got to tell you, that is really exciting. But did you focus primarily on land speed racing, or did you get into drag racing? How did you do that?
No, we'd go to Bonneville and help people out there in some cases. But drag racing had come in, and that had became good for the average guy. Could either run his family sedan there or build up a little car and run it there, and that made it easy to get into racing without, with very little money, and just bring what you run what you brung deal,
How did did you get involved with any of the dragsters? I know that Sear and Hopper, I think, did you help them a little bit?
Yeah. Later on, he told me, don't you remember you used to give me $100 a week sponsorship, and so I could travel expenses to go up to Northern California or over into Arizona and everything, and all these other drag racers. And Mickey Thompson bought his first Chrysler Cam from me on the strength of Ernie Hashem's Chrysler. Well, Chryslers were they were brand new at the time, and they'd be pretty expensive to buy a new one, and they weren't in the wrecking yards. But Hashem had, just by luck, a pinhole leak developed in a brand new Chrysler Hemi 51, I think that was. And the dealer up in Bakersfield replaced that with a brand new engine, and he had it sitting there on his floor, and he told Ernie, why don't you take this engine and see what you can do with it? So Ernie starts building it up, and I make him a cam for it, and he put a supercharger on it, and pretty soon he's going 150 miles an hour. And on that basis, from the advertising we did on him, why Garlis bought his first cam from us, and that's a good way to get started when they buy from you in the beginning.
You bet. And I think, did Tony Waters do any business with you?
Oh, yeah, and Tony was a great friend of Ernie Hashem's, and he had a DeSoto Hemi that went real good, too.
Well, you've been associated with so many people, Ed, in the drag racing. How'd you do? There was anything in boats you did? I mean, that was another part of the motorsport.
Oh
part
yeah,
of it.
in the old days, the flat bottom cracker box boats. They would run at first 100 at 55. We held a record with one fellow with our cam. Schemin' Demon was the name of it. And Ed Olson had a cracker box with the flathead Ford V8, and he used to do very good with it. Well, years had gone by, and now the hot setup was to use a Chrysler Hemi engine. And Keith Black was building at least 4 engines now for this SK boat class. And these are some years after the cracker box class. And Ed Olson, who had a boat named Cream Puff, because he was a baker, and he asked Keith Black, I want you to build me an engine too, only I'm going to use an Isky cam. I know you use only Harman and Collins cams, and you're personal friends of Cliff Collins, who's a graduate engineer, and now you're faithful to them, but I want to use the Isky cam. Well, no, if you're going to use an Isky cam, I won't build your engines. Okay, I'll get someone else to build it then, Ed Olson says. And he starts to walk away, but Keith had the second thoughts. All right, bring the cam. I'll build your engine after all. Well, they all showed up at Marine Stadium there in Long Beach. 5 Keith Black engines in SK boats. And when the race started, one boat ran away from all the others. Quite a difference in power there and in RPM. And so Monday morning, Keith was back at my shop. He wanted 4 more cams, 4 more roller cams, just like the one in Ed Olson's boat, because his customers knew something was different about Ed Olson's boat. So we made them for him, and he said, we're going all over the world selling parts and engines, and you give Edelbrock that extra 5% because of his volume, and we'll have a lot of volume too.
Ed, let's take a station break here. We're going to listen to the rest of that story. We have an in-studio guest, Mr. Ed Eskandarian, and he's talking about many of the people who are prominent in the motorsports part of the industry. Ed, continue on with your story. I'd like to hear a little bit about Stu Hilborn. Why don't you talk to me about him?
Oh, do you want me to finish on Keith Black first?
Yes, finish the Keith Black story. Sorry about that.
So Keith wanted that extra discount, and I thought, no, I've kind of taught him a lesson there. Our cams will rev up to 77,000 or so, and that Harman and Collins cam you put in real fast action was probably only go a little over 5,000. So I didn't think I had to give him the better price. I should have given it to him, but he didn't. He went to Jack Engel and bought his cams very faithfully there from then on.